All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 15 of the Daybreak podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Daybreak of Daybreak Enterprises. Today, we have a very special guest, Courtney Paige Crawford. She's based here in Cleveland. She's a very skilled designer, and we're going to learn a whole lot about her. We're kind of new friends. We met a little while ago at a fun Christmas event. So I have tons of questions for Courtney because I was looking over her website and there's a lot of stuff on there that I was really intrigued by. She's got a lot of stuff going on. She's very busy. So, let's just get right into it, Courtney. Why don't you tell us about, your upbringing, like where you're from, where you were raised, just kind of get right into it.
Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, on the east side. I went to Orange High School. My grandparents actually raised me, so that was always kind of cool. I've always really been big into the arts. I always grew up just very interested in drawing, and a lot of my free time would be spent drawing or doing any types of artsy things per se. And I did a lot of. I was actually in like an art program when I went to high school. The last 2 years I spent like in a vocational, just learning like very in depth about art. It was kind of like more of like a college course, and I took that and then ended up going to art school after that, and I studied fashion design and kind of started dabbling in a lot of other things. So that's a very quick rundown of it all.
Yeah. No, that's totally cool. So like growing up, you said you were sort of like into art right away. What kind of things were you working on as you were growing up right away?
Um, Mostly drawing. I mean, I grew up drawing with my dad. He used to like sit with me like at the kitchen table and we'd always draw like before bed or something like that. So I think that really helped kind of create my interest. My dad's also like a little bit of an artist. He doesn't really do it so much anymore, but when he was younger, he was definitely pretty good. But a lot of times, I mean, I just drew like animals and stuff, and then I kind of found myself drawing a lot of clothes and people, and just kind of like I feel like that's maybe where my love of like fashion started, was just like designing clothes through sketches and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you think like are you a pretty good illustrator? Do you still like do like just hand illustrations and stuff like that?
I was pretty good at one point when I was practicing a lot. I'm definitely not as good as I once was, but I still like when I'm doing like custom pieces for people, I usually like to kind of sketch it out, give them like a little bit of a visual, and also honestly just to help kind of keep my skill up a little bit. It's definitely something I'd love to get back into because I definitely enjoy doing that a lot.
Yeah, I've spent some time recently like getting back into just straight up like illustration, like pencil and paper illustration, trying to like just get better and develop those skills. And because there's always things in my mind that I want to get on paper, but sometimes I struggle to do so. So yeah, I'm just been kind of getting back to the basics a little bit myself and just trying to focus on some illustration. I got some like old like sketchbooks, and I like those like art books. You just like like a practice drawing book, and just I like doing that stuff. So yeah, that's cool. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, you said you grew up and you started getting into art a little more serious in high school. Did you have like mentors in high school that were sort of pushing you in that direction, or are you kind of like making those decisions on your own?
I think I mean I went through a phase like I think in high school where I was like, oh, I really want to transfer schools and things like that, or just to meet new people or whatever. And my grandparents were like, oh no, like you can't just like pick up and decide to do that really. So I think they were kind of like, oh, maybe you need like something else to do. And specifically through my high school, they had like these vocational programs, which were really cool. I mean, they had cosmetology, cooking, um, some kind of like home building type class or whatever you could do. And then I actually was originally interested in the cosmetology program, but I discovered the visual arts program and I ended up really liking that. That was kind of like really cool for me. It honestly took up like half of my day at school, so I had like a really unique schedule too, where I would have like more of like a 2 hour art class versus just like the hour or whatever. So that took always took like a good chunk up of my day, but it was cool. I had to like apply to get it and everything. I had a really awesome art teacher that was in charge of the program, Maureen Cavada. She was awesome. She was very much like a mentor. She treated the class like college courses. So, I mean, you really got like in-depth skill built in high school with that. So, I mean, I thought that was always awesome. And just getting to do like the critiques and being with some other artists and everyone in the class were also like really dedicated to the craft too. So it was some pretty good skill in there and just overall amazing experience, I think, like as a high schooler to be able to, have that.
Yeah, I think in my school we didn't have enough of that. It was more so just like everybody needs to go to college and study something sophisticated. There didn't really seem like there was enough vocational, like hands-on skills, job training stuff. Like I feel like skills training is extremely important, developing hands-on skills and whatnot. Was there like a competitive aspect to your art classes and stuff? Were you guys kind of in competition with each other a little bit or not really?
I mean, I'd say a little bit, like, nothing like crazy. I mean, there was like obviously like everyone in the class was really skilled. So, I mean, obviously, like I think naturally like, you kind of want to be the best or like be really good at it. But, I think also you just really appreciated or admired some of the other people's work, at least like from my end. And I think like the biggest driver too is we'd have these like critiques for like once we'd finish a project or something. And I think just knowing you had to like get up there, talk about your work, and then you're going to get critiqued in front of everyone. And, some people are really honest. If they don't like it, they'll say it. Or sometimes they'll straight up be like, oh, I don't get that at all. Or like, or I think you could have done this better. So that was like always kind of interesting, at least for that. Because, not like a regular class where you could turn in your homework and like no one really knows like what else is, how you did or whatnot. But this is like, you got to like put it all out there and then hear the feedback from your peers.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think a little bit of competition and stuff like that is pretty important. At least for me, I like competition. I'm a very competitive person, but
Oh yeah. I mean, I like the critiquing aspect too. It kind of like, I don't know, I feel like that skill kind of helped me as I got older. Like I don't really, if someone has a critique or anything, I don't really, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for the feedback.
yeah, you do live events, so I'm sure you hear that a lot. People want to just tell you their opinion of things, and
Oh yeah. I usually get pretty positive feedback, but I remember one time I thought it was kind of funny. Some woman, she picked up a piece I made and she looked at the sweater. She's like, "You ruined a perfectly good sweater."
yeah,
So I was like, "Oh, okay."
all you can do is just laugh it off, and
Yeah, I was like, that was really bold. I
yeah,
mean, good for her for,
it's
saying,
interesting that they feel bold enough to say something. Like I had a lady grab one of my t-shirts and it had like one of our big dogs on the back, and
yeah.
she's like, who on earth would wear this is so ugly. And I'm just like,
Oh God.
it's like, well, actually a lot of people are wearing them. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Right, right.
I'll have you know that lots of people like my shirts. Nah,
Yeah,
it
you're
was
like, they're
funny.
selling.
Yeah, you can just laugh it off. And then the best too is the people who have suggestions for us. Like we had this guy a couple weeks ago at a show. He comes up to me, so we saw a lot of like Northeast Ohio themed shirts and whatnot, and he's like, you know what you guys should do? And I'm just like, oh, here we go. Like, here we go. He's gonna tell me his really good idea. And his really good idea was that we print Northeast Ohio famous murder t-shirts. So like famous murders that have happened in Northeast Ohio, and I should print t-shirts based off that. And I'm just like, dude, please just go away. Like, go somewhere else. Like, I do not.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think those
Yeah.
people deserve the light.
Yeah. Famous Cleveland murders. And I'm just like, how about be my guest? Like, you're more than welcome to make those shirts yourself.
Yeah,
Well,
you can do the testing.
it's like all our stuff laying out on the table is just like happy stuff, like happy faces and 60s music and rock and roll and sports, and he's telling me to make Cleveland themed murder t-shirts. I'm just like, bro.
You're like, that fits the vibe
I'm
for
like,
sure.
that, you take the cake, brother. That is the worst suggestion that I've ever gotten. Like,
Yeah.
number one. Like, that takes the cake. But have you
Yeah,
gotten
brand.
any insane suggestions from people?
Uh,
I don't think anything's gonna really top the Cleveland themed murder t-shirts, but
yeah, no, that's pretty good. I mean, honestly, not really. I mean, I've definitely like had, like suggestion. I don't know. I don't think there's anything for me that stands out particularly that on that end, but I think maybe more so for me is sometimes when I'm like working on a custom project or something, I think sometimes it's hard, like it's when someone who's like not the designer creating it, like making suggestions on how to make it when maybe that won't work. But I mean, I'm always like willing to try or something. And I mean, I think sometimes other people's ideas can be, some are bad, as we know. But I don't know. I think sometimes you can end up with a pretty good result with, by hearing what someone else has to say and kind of allow your brain to work in like a little bit of a different way than you would.
yeah, it's hard as a like when we're designing stuff too, we get a lot of suggestions or people want to do things, customers want to do things that we just know is not going to look good or it's not going to be like the best. A lot of times it's not that it's going to look bad, it's that there's a better way of doing it. Like the perfect example that we run into a lot is people want to get like left chest prints all the time, but like certain logos need to be printed across the entire chest. It just looks way better. You can read it better, see it better. So we run into that all the time. Like people want to get like this left chest print, and again, like certain logos just aren't really good on the left chest. They should go on the whole chest. But it's hard, it's like that's if that's what they want, that's what they want. And at the end of the day, customer service and making our customers happy is like the most important thing. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I run into that a lot where I'm like, you do have to be open to the customer and kind of take care of their needs and what they want. So I think it's always like a good balance of doing that and adding your own like advice as a designer. And I mean, we always hope that they'll take yours, but sometimes, they don't always, they have their vision, they don't always see your vision, which is fine.
yeah, we run into it a lot, where something I've been running into lately is like it comes from the HR department or the marketing department. Like the prints have to be a certain way. You can only print this logo a certain way on this part of the shirt, and they have like these super specific specifications, and it's just like that's what they want. That's what they want. It's not what looks best, but but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that makes it tough too, especially like with marketing and design, because not every marketer is a designer for sure. It's usually kind of like one or the other, and the occasional person who has like the kind of like mix of both ends.
For sure. So let's tell us a little bit about college. So you finished up high school, you were doing the vocational program. Why don't you kind of give us a story about how college went for you?
College, I loved it. I had so much fun. I mean, it was really nice to be, and I was always like really like quiet in school and always kind of like the art person and kind of like, very to myself. And then going to college and feeling very much so like I'm around all my people. I'm with all these other artists and artists in different medias from like film to illustration, fashion design, or ad graph. So it was a lot of fun on that end because there's so many ways to collaborate with other artists too. And uh, I always loved that. Like one of my roommates was a filmmaker and photographer. So like I would make something and they would do like shoots for it or like make video content. And that part was always just a lot of fun. But overall, I had a pretty good experience. That I it was pretty much just when I originally was gonna go to college, I wasn't 100% sure if I was gonna do fashion design. I kind of had curiosities in other areas, like I wasn't sure if I was gonna be an illustrator or I actually had a lot of interest in interior design because I've always really liked that and decorating spaces, but ultimately ended up landing on fashion. So, I mean, I studied there for 4 years. It was really cool. We had a big open studio with tons of sewing machines and mannequins. I remember when I was actually touring the school, that was like the one thing I fell in love with. I walked in, there was this huge open space. There was a bright white room with like all the equipment you could dream of if you had an interest in textiles, fashion, or whatever. So, it was really cool. I also like grew up watching like shows like Project Runway, so I kind of felt like I was in the show essentially for school because I mean, fashion school is definitely tough. I remember spending like a lot of all-nighters and sewing and all that good stuff, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Remind me again where you went to college.
I went to Columbus College of Art and Design.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I remember reading it on your website, but I couldn't remember if it was CIA or if it was down somewhere else.
Yeah. I almost did go to CIA. They didn't have the fashion majors. That was the only reason I didn't, but that was definitely on my list of places to go.
Yeah, I think that's great that you guys learn like tangible skills like sewing and alterations and all that kind of stuff because that's like actually like learning to work with your hands and actually like learning tangible skills can be extremely useful like in the workforce and whatnot. Do you think that that was really important part of it for you was like actually doing the cut and sew type stuff and learning those tangible skills?
Yeah, I mean I've always loved like textiles and things like that. I mean, it was really nice to, have those like really tactile experiences and, picking out the fabric and I mean, really learning how to like build something from start to finish. Like we'd start with our sketches and then, we'd pattern everything, then we'd fit our models um and then we'd sew it and then, we'd have like the same kind of thing. We'd have a critique set up where everyone would show their pieces and then everyone would critique it and stuff like that. It was definitely a little more, I'd say, cutthroat in college and stuff like that because people were a lot more opinionated and I think just the kind of like culture in general sometimes with fashion. But I mean, definitely a really good skill. I mean, those are all skills that I'm still using today. Unlike, you think about high school, you have a lot of things that you don't use from. I always like talk about like some of the math that we use or like I mean things like that I very rarely ever use or whatnot. So it was nice to be able to have something that I could still actually very much use. And I feel like it's always like it's a growing skill too. Like I've never really, you know, I feel like you're always trying to like master the next thing with it.
Yeah, did you guys do any traveling in fashion school? Like, did you have to go to New York or Paris or Chicago or anything to do anything in those cities or not really?
There were options to do that. I didn't get to do any of that type of stuff really. I mean, there definitely were like a couple times, like on spring break, I made a point to go to New York, and I mean, that was always like a really cool experience to just, be there. They have like the whole fashion garment district with all the, like every fabric, every notion, just, like kid in a candy store kind of experience. But actually, well, at the end of college, we did like a big fashion show. And for that, they very much encouraged us to go to New York if we had the ability to go there, like just to, be able to pick out the textiles and actually be able to feel the fabrics. And, I mean, Ohio doesn't have the best choices for all that stuff, especially since we lost Joanne Fabrics. I mean, there's definitely like other like small stores, but it's obviously not like the options as if you were like in New York City where they're kind of endless.
Yeah, that going to New York City is for the first time or really any time is just a interesting magical experience because you're in like the mecca. You feel like you're in the center of the universe. Does it kind of feel
Oh,
did it kind of feel like that for you?
oh yeah. I mean it's so different from I love Ohio, I love Cleveland, but going to New York City, it's always like there's always such a buzz, there's always something going on, and it's so lively. And just, I think just even watching the people on the streets, like the outfits they wear and the clothes they wear, it's all really inspiring. And and just being able to have all those resources close by. But I mean, hey, New York is only a quick flight away, so
It's not far at all. Yeah, it's great. There
yeah.
there is that one photographer, you might know who I'm talking about. He was like an older gentleman that would do street photography of the fashion that people were wearing in New York City. I think he was like a fashion photographer for the New York Times or one of those huge newspapers. But I watched like a mini documentary on him one time and it was pretty interesting. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some people would get really pissed off that he was taking pictures of them, but he would just ride around on his bike and shoot photos of people, and it's a cool little documentary.
It is. I mean, I definitely would be interested in watching that. But yeah, I love seeing what everyone's wearing. There's an Instagram page I follow. It's called Watching New York. But I always love doing that. Some guy just on the street, like like, oh, can I take a photo of your outfit and all that? And just you never know what they're gonna be wearing.
Yeah. So when you were in like art school, was it mainly just a focus on production, like actually producing and making items, or was there like education about like actually any like business education or like sales or anything like that? Was it mostly just an education on like producing items and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, the program I was in, and I mean, at that time, their fashion program, they didn't really have much with, the side of business with it, or like sales or much with it. I mean, they kind of like touched on it a little bit, but I mean, I definitely would have liked to see more of that. I think they were kind of, maybe because it's in Columbus and they have all like the clothing brands down there, like more like corporate, they're kind of like grooming everyone more for that versus, if someone like me were going to start like a small business or fashion brand, like I don't think they really had developed it much, but I know now they are bringing that into the program, which I think is a great way to really help boost it up.
Yeah, and not only what was I gonna say? My brain just stopped working. Now that you've started your own little business, you could even go back as an alumni and like help people and give guidance to young people and whatnot. But so you kind of touched on it a little bit there, and that's kind of what I was like asking is like, what exactly were they trying? If they were trying to prepare you for anything besides just making actually producing clothes, like you're saying that they're kind of like trying to get you ready for more like the corporate world, you think?
Yeah, I mean that's what it kind of felt like because I mean it was really heavy design focused. So it didn't, I mean, they very like really touched on like the business side of stuff, which I mean, you would need that in corporate as well, but I mean, if you're going in as just like a fashion designer on a team, maybe not so much. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I definitely would have like, I mean, it was cool though, and we still got like a lot of like knowledge on like the science of textiles and things like that, and like I said, doing the garment from start to finish, or doing the illustrations. So it was definitely more design focused than some other programs. Like I know, so I've heard Kent has a really good program. I think they're like, they have a lot more going on with it right now, but I know they had more of like, merchandising and like the business side of things. So it was always kind of like interesting after I graduated hearing more and more about what they had to offer, but definitely would have been something I would have loved to seen a bit more of.
So what kind of direction did you take when you finished up school? Were they kind of pushing you towards joining like corporate design teams, or what direction did you take when you finished up school?
Yeah, I mean, they had, I mean, so the fashion show that we actually did at the end of the year, that was like sponsored by like L Brands and stuff like that. So I think just having the relationships they had with some of those brands down in Columbus, I think it was just, a bit more targeted to that, which I mean, it honestly makes sense. It's all right there. There's tons of options there, but um, sorry, I kind of forgot what I was saying.
Oh no, I was just wondering what direction you took after school when you
Yeah.
finished up.
Yeah, I mean, after school, I kind of, I originally I did really want to go to New York City, but I ended up moving just back to Cleveland afterward, and I immediately started working for like a small boutique in Chagrin Falls called like Winds of Change and Gypsy Soul. So right then and there, I just started working for them, and but I still knew I wanted to get a bit more into, fashion and work with an actual designer. Um, but I think maybe a year after that, I found out about Emily Roggenberg, and I had saw she had a position open. It was actually just for like helping a little bit with like apparel printing and things like that. So I ended up reaching out to her about getting a job, and so I interviewed with her. I got the job, ended up going really well. So for a while, I just helped her with some of like her printing, and things like that. And then I think actually one day I had messed up a print on a jacket, and I felt really bad. I was like, oh wait, I can sew. Like maybe I can fix it in some sort of way. So because of the misprint, I ended up doing something with sewing, and then um, it kind of like turned into its own thing where I started doing helping her out with more of like her one of a kind pieces, but instead of it just being like a printed on different things, I was able to use my sewing skills and um, have a lot of creativity and freedom with that.
What kind of printing was she doing?
She had like a DTG printer at the time, I think. Yeah.
Like you load in the entire garment, and there's like inkjet that prints right to the garment.
Yeah, yeah. And we'd have to like pre-treat it,
Yeah.
treat it a little bit before. I'm sure you know all about that too.
Yeah, it sounds like DTG.
Yeah.
Not the best process, but
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't think she does it as much now because that at least like working there, I remember it would always we'd always have like some sort of like issues with it or some kind of technical thing. A lot of trial and error with it.
yeah, with those printers, a big issue that people run into is they have to be running almost nonstop, or else the print heads get clogged.
Yeah, yeah.
So that could have been, part of the issue that she was running into is print heads clogging. And like I think a lot of facilities that run a lot of DTG, they have those machines running almost around the clock. So that could
Oh,
have
wow.
been a big issue that she was running into, is print heads clogging and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we definitely weren't running it 24 hours. I mean, for a good amount of time of the day, but no, no 24 hours. Yeah, at the time too, she was uh, we were back in like a warehouse too, and I mean, the warehouse really didn't have much like heat or cooling regulations, so I feel like that it just had all these kind of like little inconsistencies on that end. So there were quite a few times where we'd be calling each other trying to figure out problems of like how to like, oh, how do I fix this? I'm not really sure, and just all that, and eventually being able to, but
Yeah, the day DTG machines are just like easy to use and don't have problems will be a good day for a lot of people because a lot of people run into tons of issues with them. Another thing with the DTG machines is it doesn't really look good on dark garments. So if you're trying to print, like, I'm kind of like looking at some stuff on your website, and if you're trying to print anything on like dark garments, the colors just aren't bright at all. They're like usually pretty dull because you like with screen printing, what we do is we lay down like a white underbase, and then we'll flash dry that, and then we'll print the top colors on top of the white underbase. So that's how you get like black shirts with like super bright colors that are screen printed, is by utilizing an underbase. But you can't really do that with a DTG machine. At least from my understanding, you can't. I could be wrong about that. But that's another issue that a lot of people run into is they're like, why do these colors look so dull? And it's like, well, it's because you're not printing them on top of an underbase. That's why.
yeah. I know like for hers at least you could do the white base, but you had to like always go back in and change the settings manually, and sometimes, we're all human, so sometimes you forget and then you print it and you're like, oh no, it's like, this doesn't look good, and you know, obviously, you do misprint, you kind of have to eat the cost a little bit, but is what it is.
Yeah, there's other solutions that we've used that are a lot better, like DTF. Actually, it's right here. I just happen to have this sitting right here.
Perfect.
So you can like print images onto a film like this,
Yeah, okay. I've
and
always
then
been curious about that.
yeah, and then you can press them into garments, and you can get really bright like colors without. I think the DTF printer lays down an underbase and then prints a top coat on top of it, because when you print this on dark garments, it comes out like really bright. There's no issues at all.
Yeah. Oh, love that.
Yeah,
Is that what you guys primarily use, or do you primarily do the screen printing?
every job calls for something different. So, like something like this is screen printed like 100% of the time, just one color. Well, this is actually, yeah, it looks like multiple colors, but it's just one color. So like single color stuff, like this is like, single color. That stuff will all be screen printed. Well, this is actually a transfer. It's just because this is like a fluorescent orange. It's kind of like a different material. So yeah, single color stuff is pretty much always screen printed. But then if you're getting into like, I was like trying to look, none of these are really like full color. They're all, they're all when I say full color, I mean like full color gradients, like a full like spectrum, like rainbow, all the colors you can imagine. That would almost always be printed digitally, like DTF, like this.
Okay.
Um,
Sure.
the reason this is DTF is because there's so many different colors. So this was like for a powerlifting meet, all the sponsors are on the back of the shirts.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
like, yeah. So all the sponsors' logos have different colors, and you you could theoretically screen print that, but it's a whole challenging process. So
Oh,
we
I've
just
heard of it.
so yeah, you would just do this with DTG, or we prefer DTF just because the colors are a lot brighter with DTF. Yeah, so primarily with us, we do a lot of screen printing, low color count stuff. So like one, two, three color stuff will be screen printed, and higher volume stuff. So like, you know, hundreds and thousands of pieces. That's always going to be better for screen printing. But for like shorter runs, you know, stuff that's like 100 pieces or less, we utilize a lot of DTF for that, just because the DTF just does a really good job and the colors are really bright. We don't do a lot of DTG at all, just because of like the color saturation issues, and it's just not very bright on dark garments. And like I'd say like 80 to 90% of what we print on is dark colored shirts, so black shirts, navy blue shirts, like dark stuff. So having bright colors is one of the biggest priorities for us. We do some embroidery too, not a ton. That's something we're trying to get more into, is embroidery, just because I love it and the quality's amazing and it lasts forever. So yeah, mainly screen printing, DTF, and then some embroidery, and then a little bit of DTG, but not a lot, at least right now, until the printers get better, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds like they definitely have an area of improvement.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just technology. You know how technology is, and as the years go on, the technology is going to get better. And I think the like garment printing industry is a little bit behind, like when it comes to technology, because you know, screen printing is kind of an interesting process. It's because from an outsider's perspective, it's like, oh, you have one screen that can only print one color. Like that seems kind of outdated. Like that seems like something we would have stopped doing in the 1970s or 1980s. And it's like, no, we're still doing it because these digital printers, like these DTG printers, just aren't good enough yet. They have these really interesting machines that are a combination of screen printing and DTG. So like you will actually can show you really quick. It's like you can lay down like white underbase, and then there's like a DTG machine that will print the full color image on top of the white underbase. So you screen print the underbase, and then the DTG machine comes through and finishes the rest of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, can pull a picture of one of these MNRs. Oops. That's a YouTube video. Yeah, so I'm gonna just do this screen share real quick. I always forget I can do a screen share. It's pretty cool.
Gotta love a screen share.
Oh, it's great. So you can kind of see here. Do you see where my mouse is?
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, so you can't really tell, but like back here, the underbase is being screen printed. Mm-hmm. And then let me see if this is a big picture. I'm looking for like a big picture. Okay. See this? So it goes around the carousel, and the red. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Yeah. So the red things here are flash drying the screen printed underbase, the white underbase. And then this big giant thing right here is the DTG printer, and it's printing DTG on top of the screen printed underbase. So I'm sure you can imagine these machines are very expensive. They cost probably $1 million or more.
Oh, I believe it.
So, yeah, I just figured I'd show you that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, that's digital squeegee. That's a technology that I think is going to be be utilized a lot more in the future. It's going to get cheaper and easier
Right.
for smaller shops to buy it and whatnot. And yeah.
Yeah. I feel like screen printing has just such like a good, so much of a better look to it too than some of the printed stuff.
It has a nice feel a lot of times. Has that kind of like it ages really well too. Like when it starts cracking and stuff, it still looks really good. It just like kind of ages well. Like people really love vintage t-shirts that have that like cracked look to them and stuff. So
Oh yeah. I know. I love when I could find like at a thrift store like a really good t-shirt that, it looks worn in, but you can tell the logo is not gonna like, keep falling or flaking off.
yeah,
But
for sure. So yeah, so you finished school, you started working for a couple of ladies, and then what else kind of happened? When did you kind of why don't we fast forward to kind of where you're at now? Like how did you kind of get to the point where you are now?
yeah. Well, um, I mean, I was doing all that one of a kind stuff with Emily, and that was really great. I think near the end of that, I just started getting interested in other things too, naturally. I'm a very curious person, but I kind of started learning about like UX design, and thought I might want to like pursue something like that. I mean, I love like thoughtful design and like user experience and kind of, designing with intention and, products that, are usable. I mean, I think, I felt like too, it was an easy transition from, clothing design because it's something, you have to really think about because someone's going to be using it and, you want them to feel good in it, you want them to look good in it. You want the fabrics to be good quality and all that. And just have an overall good feel like how is this person going to wear this and whatnot and really thinking about that. So I kind of started segueing in that, and then I you know did that for like the last like year or two or so, and I'd kind of like stopped sewing for like a year-ish. I'd sew like here and there, and then after that I kind of was like, well, I really miss sewing, and doing the one of a kind stuff was something I always like really loved. And I basically one year decided I was like, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's something I love to do. I have the skill. Why would I stop? So I just started picking it up again, and then so I've had this business for 2 years. But I've been sewing for about like 10 years now, which is just crazy to say. Um, but yeah, I decided to do a pop-up, and my very first pop-up was at Lago's Wine Down event, which I love doing every year. I just think it's the best. It's a great event. It's fun. Always do really well, but I just did that and I figured I was like, oh, I'll just, see how it goes and see if people even are like, gonna still buy my stuff. And after that, I was like, okay, like I did pretty good, and I was like, got a lot of great feedback, and it was, I love doing it. So I just decided to continue on. I did another pop up, and then here we are today. We're still doing them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, you started getting into the pop-ups. That's kind of how
Yeah.
I started too. I think it's a great way to start for anybody because you can get in front of folks and test your it's kind of like test marketing in real time and get good feedback from people and make a little bit of money, and that's really cool. What
Yeah.
challenge what challenges did you kind of run into when you first started?
I think, when you're doing pop-up markets, you kind of think, oh, I just had to bring my product. And then I just felt like every time for a while, like I always felt like I was like missing something. Like I would like, oh, I don't have business cards, or I only have like one platform for like ways for people to, pay me. And I think just some of the challenges were just like finding a good setup, or and for me especially like clothing racks, finding a good clothing rack, was always like a big struggle. Like I remember, I mean, I move a lot of the stuff by myself, and I pack my car to the absolute brim. I feel like I'm playing Tetris every time I fill it up. But I remember there's a couple times where like my rack fell apart in the middle of the street and I'm trying to hold it and a screw's rolling this way and something else is rolling this way. So I think just like little things like that would always be like, oh no, do I really want to do this? This is such a pain. Um, but yeah, I think just kind of like really figuring out your setup and all the materials you need. And then, I mean, you do so many pop-ups, you kind of like learn what you need and don't need. And I mean, I think for me, it was always just finding how can I make it as easy as possible to do a setup without being, too much of a headache and whatnot. And paying attention to, how things sell with your customers and what kind of they respond to or things like that.
Yeah, I relate to every single thing that you said.
Yeah.
The clothing rack thing is crazy, like not being able to find good. It's not the clothing rack's fault necessarily. It's
Yeah.
it's that it's hard to find racks that are good for what we're doing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's where the struggle comes in because, these clothing racks, they're not necessarily designed to be like hauled in and out of cars and across parking lots. And
Right.
yeah, so I've run into that issue with racks too, where it's just, I literally, and I have at my last show, I had like my favorite rack ever. I like set it down and it just snapped. Like one of the legs just like snapped
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
like, I just broke my favorite rack. It was a very sad day, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a huge struggle for me too. Is trying to figure out like how to get in and get out of these shows in a reasonable amount of time and have the setup. That's why I'm not even like the biggest fan of one day shows. I don't know. It's like on one hand, I do like one day shows because for a lot of reasons. Like I feel like with 2 day shows, you might have one good day. So it's like
Yeah.
so it's like you might have one good day and the next day is not very good. So it's better just to make it just one day and you don't have to worry about coming back. But the one day shows are hard because it's like setting up and breaking down in the same day. It takes a lot of effort and
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
but the outdoor shows kind of kill me too just because if it's not 90 degrees and I'm dying in the heat, the
Yeah.
wind is blowing 30 miles per hour or it's starting to rain. And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, these event organizers, they think, an outdoor show is, oh, it's a great idea. And it's in Cleveland, it's just not the best idea. It's very challenging.
Oh, yeah. You never know what you're gonna get with this weather.
Yeah. But doing these live pop ups, it's definitely challenging. And we're all kind of having the same struggles and interacting with a lot of the same difficult people sometimes, and it's definitely hard for sure. And then trying to, oh, I want to try this new show, and then you go and it's terrible, so it's hard for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like I don't know, like Forrest Gump, like life is like a box of chocolates. Like I think that's very much how the pop-up markets are. You never really know what you're gonna get out of them. I mean, there's always like those few events where you can kind of predict, like, oh yeah, I know I'm most likely gonna do like good here, but I know there's been like a couple where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this again. But then, it could have just been the day or the right crowd or, the weather. Because I've definitely done like a pop-up where it's like monsooning outside and, people aren't necessarily, then they don't want to go outside. I mean, I don't really want to go outside either, but I signed up, so I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard because it's so unpredictable, and then it's also hard because the income is unpredictable. So if you're trying to invest in your business a little bit and you're trying to count on some income that you're going to make from some shows, it can be challenging because you're not 100% sure how you're going to do. Like, is this year going to be a good year? Or is this year going to not be a good year? So,
Oh yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it feels like markets are like a little bit different this year. Like I'm not doing as well as I was last year. I mean, I still have my really good markets. But I notice it's kind of like more of like I don't really know. But I think the crowd seems to be a little bit different.
and I think if I were, I'm pretty sure your items are, you know, handmade, cut and sew stuff that is priced a little bit higher as it should be. So that's another struggle that you have is, you know, trying to sell some items that cost a little bit more. You know, we're selling, you know, our cheapest items are our short sleeves and they're 25 or $30. And it's like, that's all we can sell right now. We can't sell any sweatshirts. We can't sell any long sleeves. So I look at you guys and I feel bad because I'm like, man, they're probably struggling. They're probably struggling a lot more than we are because people are kind of strapped for cash right now in just about every part of our society. People are having a hard time, which, you know, makes things for us pretty difficult.
Oh, for sure. I know. Because I mean, I think with like, especially with a one of a kind item, I think one people's concerns is like, oh, am I gonna really wear this all the time? Or I don't go to, if I do like sports or stuff, I'm not gonna go to that many games. But um, yeah, so it's always interesting, kind of like figuring out what, especially like how to price things too. Because I'm like, oh, I want to do how it kind of matches the economy, whatever, right now, but I also kind of want to stay true to like what my value is and stuff. And I think already as like, an artist that sometimes can be like a tricky thing. I've kind of like noticed like just talking to other artists in general, but they're still buying, but I think people are just, they're being a little more conscious about it and kind of, you know, it's the time, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have it pretty dialed in with our shows. Like, we know which ones are really good and which ones aren't really good. And,
Right.
you know, we just kind of go from there. And how does sizing work for you? Do you struggle with sizing, like getting things made at the right sizes?
Uh, a little bit. I mean, I think that's one thing I kind of like run into is sometimes sizing's always interesting because I'm like, oh, like, do you have anything small or do you have anything big? It's either everything's too small or too big. But it really just depends on like who's coming to look. But I always try to make sure, if I have a customer and they're not sure about the size or something like that, it's always like customizable. So I kind of look at it as like some of the pieces I have hanging up, it's also kind of like mm, essentially like a sample piece. Like it can always be like customized into something else, or I can offer it to them in a certain size or a certain color or pattern. Um, so I feel like that's always one thing I try to at least express to get around that as like a little loophole because I know, not everyone wants something small or cropped or whatnot. But I think just kind of showing or telling customers, what's available to them.
Yeah, for sure. If I were you, I would just make everything huge. I would just be like, everything is XL, 2X, and 3X. And if you need anything smaller than that, you can go shop somewhere else. I
Yeah,
swear
yeah.
that's like all we sell anymore. It's like ridiculous.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
had to start charging more. We had to start charging more for 2X, 3X, and 4X because it's like those blanks cost more. They cost almost twice as much as everything else, and
Oh, yeah. They
we have
really
to
do.
start charging for it. And we sell so much 2X and 3X, it's ridiculous. So yeah, if I were, I would just make everything big and just be like, yeah, our smallest size is extra large. Yeah. But no, that's cool that you offer like, that customization and stuff. And this is just a random question that just popped into my head. Have you ever thought about doing like live seamstress stuff or like live customization, like bringing a machine with you?
Oh, yeah. I definitely have thought about that. I have quite a few machines. I have an industrial, so that's one that you can't really take
Yeah.
anywhere. I mean, maybe if I had like some kind of crazy like
Trailer.
mini
You need a trailer.
trailer or something, maybe that's a longer term investment. But and I have another machine that's like it's really heavy, kind of a pain to carry around. But I just got like a smaller one that's a lot more. You can take it a lot more places and things like that. So I definitely would love to like get into that because I mean I think people really like to see behind the scenes, or I don't know if I'm sure you watch those shows of like how you build it or how you make it. Like I used to love watching all of those. So, I mean, I think that would be like a really cool aspect to bring. Sometimes I have like a grommet press. Sometimes I'll like do like rivets and things like that, but I haven't actually done the full sewing yet, but that's definitely been on my mind to do that soon.
Yeah, we do some live screen printing. We did some last year and it was cool. I have like a small portable press and set up, and it sounds like it would be a nightmare, and it was actually not at all. It's actually really easy. We just pack up like literally like one box of gear and then the press, and we're good to go. And just so we're gonna probably definitely be getting into doing that a lot more in the future. We're pretty limited with what we can actually print, but I actually kind of like that a little bit. I like I like limited choices, and just
Yeah.
this is the design we have today. You can take it or leave it, and it's good for events. Like it's really good. Like you know, Hendrickson is this one company we work with, Hendrickson Company Picnic 2026, and then we just print the company picnic T-shirt for 2026. So like people aren't. It's like really good for that kind of thing, event. It's really good for like event printing and whatnot. So it's just something I was just curious if you've ever thought about it, because I've never seen that. I think it'd be cool. But I do have a question about equipment.
Yeah.
So like, tell us a little bit about. Oh, my bracelet just broke.
Oh no.
I need one of the jewelry girls to fix it.
Oh yeah, the permanent.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So tell us about equipment and how you kind of acquired some of your equipment at first, and how you decide. I'm always interested, like how people decided to invest in certain things, and because it's hard. I mean, stuff's expensive, so it's hard to decide. Like, okay, do I really need this? And is this really going to be a good investment for me? So tell us
Right.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question because there's so much out there, especially like if you're someone, that wants to get into sewing, there's endless options and um but I mean I mean I had a sewing machine I had from high school um that I mean I had just like kind of randomly picked out. It was from Joann's and I had someone just like showing me different machines and I was like, "Oh, I'll take this one." I never really got how to like use it till after college. I I discovered, actually learning how to run your machines actually makes a big difference and like when you're sewing and things like that. I think it eliminated a lot of frustrations when once I actually like figured it out. But no, there were a couple years I've worked in the alterations department at Nordstrom, so I worked on a lot of industrial machines, which I also did in school. So naturally, I really like the industrial machines. It was something I always wanted. Those were pretty expensive at the time, and I didn't really have the space for it, so I kind of like didn't really bother with it. But I'd also started working for a local sewing shop called Pins and Needles, but they were like essentially like a dealership for sewing machines. So, I mean, I got to test every sewing machine, like all the brands. When I got really familiar with all of them, um, I have a couple FOF machines. I mean, I like those because they're really built for people who are in fashion and they're pretty heavy duty machines. And, the one thing I've learned, like working at a sewing machine dealership, you're getting like the quality versus, some of the big box stores, some of the insides, are plastic and things like that. And you don't necessarily know what you're getting. Not to say that some of those machines aren't good, but I know for me, I'm sewing all kinds of things and I like a lot of like the thicker fabric. So I definitely felt it was important to have one of those, heavy duty machines and I think just like learning how they run too. Um, I was like, oh, okay. Well, you can just tell the difference. And my FOF machine has like a built-in walking foot and stuff, so it goes over a lot of like thick fabric and things like that. And I think, you know, just working at the store too, I kind of had a little bit of advantage of, you know, good old employee discount. So that helped also well. I kind of I invested in a pretty good machine. It was actually used before, but it really hadn't been like used too much. But I got like a sewing and embroider machine combo machine, so it can do both. I primarily have always used it for sewing and very recently started getting into the embroidery side, but so that's how I kind of acquired that one. I also got like another serger as well from there, which I was able to trade in my old one and get a better one. I do have an industrial now that I also got really lucky with. Someone was just actually, they really needed to get rid of it. They were originally were trying to sell it to me, and I was like, oh, you know, not right now. And then I was like, oh, I'll think about it. And then they had the point where they just really needed to get rid of it. So like, actually, please just take it off my hands. So I mean, I was right there when they said that, of course.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
big thing for me with equipment anymore is just reliability. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's like I just need something that is gonna be reliable and not break, and I'm not gonna like go into the shop and it's just not gonna turn on. Like, so that's
Yeah.
the way I'm always just like most interested. Like, I have this vinyl cutter behind me that is just like a nightmare. Like, one day it'll connect to the computer and the other day it won't connect to the computer, and I'm just like, it's just not reliable. And it's like, yeah, that drives me insane with equipment, but that's
Oh yeah.
cool.
Especially if you need to get it fixed and you know, you have to pay another professional to fix it because you know, you don't really, I mean, I don't know I can run a sewing machine well, but I don't know how to like, you know, necessarily fix one or anything or troubleshoot everything. But yeah, my embroidery machine has not been my friend lately.
Yeah, embroidery is a whole like another ball game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But that's good you're getting into it because that's going to open up a lot of opportunity for you as far as like custom work and stuff. And
Oh yeah. I mean, I think people love like the customization, the factor of things, and you know, I feel like that's also something that's like really big and trending right now. Is everyone kind of, you know, they want that custom piece or be able to, you know, customize something that they already have.
totally, yeah. And I think that's good for you because you can do like you're at a point now where you can do like the full blown like custom cut and sew piece, and then you can also, if somebody, you know, don't be leave the doors open to like if somebody wants like 10 hats embroidered, you can embroider some hats for them, or you can embroider some shirts for them. Like, leave those doors open, you know, because that's like additional revenue for you and your business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone, I mean, that's like just like us, you know, like we have our own t-shirts that we made that we sell, and then we do our custom printing, and it's just a nice little, it's that nice balance, you know. We get to be really creative and make cool stuff that we like, and then we also get to do stuff for other people, and that's that like extra additional revenue that really helps us a lot. So I think that's cool that getting into the embroidery, that's going to be cool for you.
Yeah, I'm excited to get past all the troubleshoots and have it smooth sail, which I mean, the mistakes will always happen, but I think eventually, you know, you do it so many times, you know how
Yeah,
to fix those mistakes a lot easier.
did you get like a tabletop machine, or did you get one of the like stand-up machines?
So I have a tabletop. So it's actually it's a combo machine, so it sews and it embroiders. So it's a flatbed. So it's kind of like a little bit limited on what all it can do. I would love to invest in like more of like a 10 needle, 6 needle, all that stuff. I'm kind of like I've been eyeing those a little bit because I'm like, okay, I think if I really want to continue this, I have to consider, you know, maybe doing one of those upgrades and giving myself like, you know, that ability to customize and whatnot. So just trying to figure out the mechanics for all of that. But I mean, I feel like the machine can really pay for itself though once like you get going.
They pay, I mean, it could pay for itself in a month, right? Like, if you have the right business for it if you have the. I mean, seriously, you could have, a company that needs 100 golf polos embroidered, and it's like, okay, now you just paid for half the machine. So or
Yeah.
you just paid for a quarter of the machine, So it's like that kind of stuff can really take your business to the next level, and I think that's really cool for sure. You could have a really cool little operation going over there. Yeah, one of the things I wanted to ask you kind of towards the end here, just about like thrifting a little bit and like how you get in. What is like your strategy with thrifting, and what you don't have to tell me which stores exactly. I don't need you to say all your secrets. But like, what are some of your favorite areas or places you like to go?
Um, I mean, I honestly I go all over. I mean, I go to east side, west side. I mean, it really is just kind of like discovering which, I mean, I feel like every area kind of has its own thing. Like I go like there's like a place I go and mentor a lot where I specifically go just to like find like good t-shirts and stuff like that or like a specific textile. Um or like I maybe I'll go to one for like a certain like to hit like a certain price point or something where like their prices are a little bit better. But I do like going to like Savers a lot too, just because you can, if you donate clothes, you can always get like a little like 20% discount. So that's just a little trick for anyone that loves thrifting in general. I think flea markets are really great too. There's one that I love that's like on the west side called Jamie's Flea. One of my friends that's a vintage vendor, they actually told me about it, but that one's definitely a lot more digging and things like that. But I mean, I think since it's just like the area, like you just find like a lot, I feel like a lot like cooler like t-shirts and things like that. And those are always like fun to see. I mean, because I mean, I love thrifting in general and like vintage like furniture and whatever. So it's kind of like fun to do that. But I don't know, I try to like go with somewhat of a vision before I go thrifting just because I mean sometimes I can get there and like I will feel like a little overwhelmed. I'm like I don't know where to start,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean I just try to look, figure out what I'm looking for, and I'll go to different areas for basically whatever I need. And I just like to look for like material that feels like it's like good quality. I mean, I feel like there's always like a good balance between like what's too old, what looks too new, because I kind of like that vintage look in general. And I think just finding shirts that have like a good quality print and things like that, or I do really like finding pieces that like, either have a hole or a stain on them that people probably wouldn't actually buy, and then kind of giving like revitalize that piece in general because I do love the sustainability factor. Like, it's like, you know, who wants to buy a shirt with a hole in it, really?
Yeah.
Except for me, I do. But
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. You got like a little system down, and you know what works best for you. And
yeah, I definitely keep like a running list of like different places that I like to go and have like a bunch of spots that are pinned. So I kind of make like a rotation.
yeah, there's like this stretch of road in North Homestead. It's like 2 or 3 miles where there's like a Goodwill, a Valley World, and then a Volunteers of America thrift store. And it's just
Okay.
you can just like hit those three like in within like you can do like all three in an hour, and it's like really good thrifting area for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely go to that area a lot. I haven't been to the Volunteers of America though, actually, so I'll have to.
That's the best one.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely be going there.
Yeah, that's the best one. That one's huge, and I've gotten some amazing stuff there over the years.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'd love when there's like multiple thrift stores in one area. I feel like that makes it easier. I mean, I definitely have to like, prepare myself like because it can be a lot like sifting through all the racks and stuff, but it's also a lot of fun. I mean, sometimes just like seeing what's out there and kind of getting ideas as you're like looking through the racks.
Yeah, the women's sections are more overwhelming than the men's sections.
Oh yeah, I shop in the men's section a lot though.
Nice.
When I'm looking for you, you guys have all the good t-shirts.
Yeah, for sure. We got nice big t-shirts.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a question I ask like everybody, like, what does success look like for you? You think when you think about the next 5, 10 years? I mean, I think you're successful already right now, but
Thank you.
what does like your 5 or 10 year success look like? Or what do you kind of think about and dream about?
Obviously I'd love to continue like what I'm doing and whatnot. I think for me, just being able to eventually, I kind of like dream of either having like a store, an actual storefront where I'm doing like customization and things like that, or I'd kind of like to have like a mobile like milk truck or something, or I could like sell in there and then also do like custom stuff. So, I mean, it would just, continue to grow what I have and be able to like, it's not my full-time thing. Like I'm still doing like other gigs and stuff like that on like the marketing and web design area, but I'd love to be where a point where, I can just like rely on that and kind of lock myself in a room and sew all day. I mean, that sounds like a dream to me.
Yeah.
Maybe actually have someone help me a little bit too. Because right now, I mean, I do all aspects of the business, which is nice, but definitely, like, I would love to, like, have someone I could have grow the business with me and kind of show the ropes of everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're at a certain point, like as a founder of a business, you have to try to, in some way, like you're always going to want to be working with your hands and sewing and doing everything, but there might have to be times where you can kind of step away and let somebody else kind of take care of it for you, so you can work on other parts of the business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely at the point where I'm like finding, it's not as easy to balance everything because I'm trying to do like the marketing side and the content creation and the sewing, and sometimes I kind of just want to do one thing, and it would definitely would be, it helps to have like a team of people. I don't think anyone could really do anything. Um, anyone can do really anything on their own. So it definitely would be nice to have like the extra support. But for right now, we're winging it and it works, but
Yeah,
definitely would like to add to it.
I think with the mobile little like mini truck thing, mini mobile sewing van, I think parties and like stuff and weddings and stuff would be huge for you, because you could go and you could do like live embroidery. You could like customize wedding gifts and stuff like at a wedding for all the guests. And I think that could be like really beneficial and like really cool way of doing like live decoration for you.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be really cool too. I mean, I think that would be a great offering.
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions for me as we kind of wrap up here?
Hmm. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Let's see. I don't know, what does success look like to you? I'll throw it back at you. Just
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question, and I think that's something I think of a lot about a lot. I would say, God, because I have a really big vision for this business, right? Like to, I want my company to turn into a media company as well as a custom apparel and design company, and I really want this podcast and YouTube channel to kind of become its own monster that's sort of operating on the side of everything else. So yeah, I'd say like 10 years from now, I'd like to have I'd like just content to be out there every day. Like I'd like having full-time or part-time content creators posting to our YouTube channel and our social medias like every day, just following the day-to-day operations of the business and really growing the podcast. And right now, I can only really handle shooting like one episode a month, and I'd like to increase that to eventually be doing one episode a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, really growing the YouTube and media side of the business as the rest of the business grows too. Just because I think I've always really loved YouTube, especially. I think it's just a great platform. And it's basically free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can upload videos for free and get them in front of the entire world. So it's just like, it's a no-brainer for me that we should be trying to take advantage of that. And really, it's like our own TV station. Like, this is the way I look at it. Like,
Oh yeah.
literally just have our YouTube channel just be our own TV station, and have like, I thought it'd be really cool to have almost like a radio station too that's built in to the YouTube channel, where we can have like DJs that are like DJing throughout the day, and just broadcasting live onto YouTube and Spotify and stuff like that. So that's kind of like a long-term vision. And in the short term, kind of like what you said, we're both both our businesses are pretty young and pretty new and kind of in a startup phase. And yeah, just trying to continue to grow our clientele, and to the point where the income with the business is more reliable. It kind of seems like our income is like very kind of unreliable month to month, and it makes it really hard to like plan for things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just over the next like 5 to 10 years, like I really just want the income from the business to become a lot more stable. I want to, another big thing is like increase our e-commerce. Like I'm really trying to grow our Etsy store. I'm really just mainly focused on our Etsy store and Shopify right now. And in the future, I think I'm definitely going to have to hire some e-commerce like professionals that can consult us and teach us the ways of e-commerce and everything, just to help us get more online sales. I think that's going to be like another big focus of the business too, is to grow the online stores. But I think as you know, as the podcast and the YouTube channel grows and our social medias grow, I think those online sales will come along with it. It's just a matter of learning how to like maximize it and do a better job making sure our stuff is getting in front of the right people and just making more sales. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel, yeah, that's a huge part of it, is making sure you get in front of the right people. And yeah, I think e-commerce would be a great next step. That's kind of like one of mine too. I'm like really push like the online, because that's where we are most of the time now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Etsy's been decent for us. We've had some growth on Etsy. It's a really good platform. People get bent out of shape about the fees. I don't really, I mean, at the end of the day, like there's a cost of doing business. There's a cost of doing business anywhere. And the fees, in my opinion, on Etsy are pretty reasonable. So, I mean, I get it. It's frustrating to people, but Etsy's running a platform and they have employees they need to pay. So it's just the cost of doing business.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think that was a great episode. Anything else that you wanted to talk about, or do you want to go ahead and give your socials like a shout out and everything? And we'll have all Courtney's socials and everything posted in the description of these videos. But if you want to go ahead and shout anything out, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I do most of my stuff on Instagram. I always like creating new pieces, posting new content for that. But you can follow me at cpc.CourtneyPaigeCrawford. I also have my website too if you want to check that out. That's CourtneyPCrawford.com.
Sweet. What are you looking forward to in the short term with the summertime? What big events do you have coming up?
I actually have a fashion show next weekend that I'm really excited about on the 24th. So I'm excited to do that. I haven't done one in a really long time, so it should be a lot of fun. It's a streetwear event. A couple other designers are going to be there. So looking forward to that and just doing some of the other, big markets. Hopefully get in those good old 3-day markets. I feel like market season is really starting.
Yeah, those 3-day markets. We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see. We applied to some of those too.
Yeah.
Um, is Blank Easel in that fashion show too?
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Yes, my boy. I
Oh, okay.
that's
Awesome.
next Saturday.
It's Friday, April 24th. So the
Okay.
doors open at 7. I think the show actually starts at 8 p.m.
Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
Not sure. I know we have something going on that day, but might be able to swing it. We'll see.
Yeah, come on by if you guys can.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will catch up with you guys next time. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.